Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Well, it's panning out to be another good day of trade. 7 days of consecutive move on the higher side with fingers crossed is what we are having at this point in time. It's the that has taken the lead today to push the Nifty higher above 24,300 odd mark. IT sector alone is up by over 4.5% odd in trade, led by high heavyweight IT names like HCL Tech after earnings. They've pulled up most of the other stocks also with themselves. Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, TCS, all of them up and about. In fact, all the stocks on the IT pack are in the green today. Even the mid-cap IT names are actually doing pretty well in trade. Coforge, Emphasis, those are the kind of stocks that are pulling up in trade as well. Along with the IT names, we are also seeing some gains come back onto the auto pack. 2% of a move. It's now at the near the day's high move. Pharma stocks are also doing well, 1.5% higher. You can also see real estate sector stocks also doing well at this point. Mid caps and small caps are also contributing to the gains at this point. What's not doing well? Banks have actually given up some of the gains of yesterday. You can see all the three constituents of the banks, private banks, PSUs, and even the financial services slightly softer in trade. The Nifty Bank itself is down by about half a percent. But barring this, consumer durables, there is some decline, and there's also some decline coming in on oil and gas. But rest of the pockets are actually up and about in trade. Tata Motors is actually doing well, 4.5% higher. Out of a long turn, it's among the top movers on the Nifty today. PSU stocks have turned green. They have recovered from the day's lowest point. ONGC, railway stocks, BHEL, NTPC. You also have some defense names like BLHL. All of those counters within the PSU pack are also doing well at this point in time. Let's welcome our guest on board. Kunal Rambia joins in, founder of The Streets, with us on the show. Warm welcome, Kunal. Good to have you with us. Tell us, how have you read through the improving, the recovery in the sentiments over the last 7 days odd, and what would it mean for the markets going forward? Could you unmute yourself, Kunal, please?
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So, as we saw the sharp recovery in the indices, actually, Nifty is up by around 12.5% from the extreme lows in last 8 days, and Bank Nifty is up by almost around 14%. And what we saw was a mild profit booking in Bank Nifty, which was again natural because of expiry gain coming in. But overall, I think, the trend which we were forcing and we were discussing, the sideways consolidation is now coming to an end on both the indices. I think on Nifty, we can expect the levels of around 25,000 going forward. And on Bank Nifty, I think much on the higher side is still done, but 56,000 to 56,250 can be expected if the Bank Nifty contributes on the Nifty move. But otherwise, I think this is the time to go bullish on Nifty and a bit mild on Bank Nifty.
Okay, time to now focus on Nifty vis-a-vis Nifty Bank at this point in time. But let's start by talking about the sector that has outperformed today, IT stocks. I think, do you think this was more of a peak pessimism that has led to this sharp recovery? Everybody was, looking away from IT sector, looking at what could this sector be up for because of Trump's tariffs and what was happening in the US, fears of recession. But come the earnings, there's been either inline performance from large heavyweights that have posted their earnings and not too much of a pessimism as well. What would you really do with the IT names now? Do you think enough is done and now is the time to again look at IT names?
Sakshi, market always has the habit of exaggerating and overreacting on most of the times on the events. Let's just look at the data. On Infosys, the stock which is down by around 35% from the highs, we are back to the April 2024 levels, and those were 1350 to 1400 levels. We saw a bounce coming from that level itself. Now, in technicals, why am I saying about these levels? Is because in technicals, we give a lot of importance to previous highs and lows, right? So it has bounced from that level itself. At the same time, look at TCS, down by around 33% from the peak, and again consolidated and now showing the good breakout times on the lower time frame charts. So these are the opportunities where risk reward ratio is extremely favorable. I think Infy and TCS are the two counters as the heavyweight, which might lead the rally in the entire sector.
Okay, fair point. But if I have to now ask you on the pecking order, then, between the large names that have already come out with the earnings, how would you pencil in HCL Tech, after this 8% of a move that we've seen today, Infosys, TCS, we also have Wipro, we are left with LTI Mindtree and Tech Mahindra from the big heavyweights that are still to come with the earnings starting today. Your sense from these big three or four names, how will you place the pecking order?
See, again, Sakshi, the counters which have already gone up by 8 to 10%, I think I will not really be comfortable buying at this level because my risk reward ratio is unfavorable. Now, what if I wish to buy? Then for me, Techem or HCL should get into a sideways consolidation, a bit of profit booking, and then the rally emerges. If that happens, then yes, these are good counters to initiate buy. Otherwise, I think, the counters like Bsoft or OFSS, which are from the mid IT segment names, which are still showing the earliest signs of recovery. I think there are good bets available on those counters rather than looking at the large cap.
Fair point. So we'll definitely look at that. And of course, mid-cap IT names will also come up with the earnings. So we will definitely be looking at how these earnings also come in. Auto space is the next one that I'll bring your attention to. I mean, after a long haul, we are seeing some bounce return onto the auto names yet as well. Many names from the frontline OEMs like M&M, Tata Motors are doing well today. Focus coming back across the space. What would your top favorite be? Do you think you will want to participate in this up move?
Absolutely. Yesterday only we shortlisted three sectors. The first was IT, second was the auto, and the third was metal. The only reason being if Nifty has to catch up with the move, which we have seen in Bank Nifty, I think these are the three sectors which can pick up which should pick up and give steam to the Nifty. So in the auto pack, we have shortlisted two counters. First is Tata Motors, which is looking very attractive to me right now. At this level, also 660 can be a good entry level with the stop of 645 one can go long, and the targets can be 725 to 730. And the second is Maruti. Again, the breakout is still pending, sideways consolidating near 11,890 levels. If Maruti manages to close about 12,000, then with the stop of 11,500 one can definitely go long. The targets can be 12,750 to 13,000 levels. So these are two top picks in the four-wheeler segment, and one is Bajaj Auto, which is looking good to me in the two-wheeler segment.
Okay, got that. Let's look at some of the other pockets then. Banks is something, let's discuss that too. These have been the outperformers of the last 5-7 days of a move that we've seen in the markets. They finally took the lead. We've seen after ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank post their earnings, sentiments shift for the better for the entire space. But many of them are still at their 52-week highs. Would you be comfortable with the banks, especially the large ones at this point in time? And what would your top choices be?
Again, not really buying at this elevated level because again, risk reward ratio is unfavorable. But if you look at ICICI, it's still consolidating near high. Kotak is showing some kind of mildness, some profit booking. Same is the case with HDFC Bank, where the profit booking is seen. Rather than going for large cap, I think I'll focus more on PSU banking, where fresh breakouts are seen and good volume activities are also happening. Counters are far away from even 52 weeks high. So I think there we have a better opportunity rather than now looking at large cap stocks.
Okay, but how about AU Small Finance Bank? After the earnings, there's been a stellar move on this one. Many investors want to know that are things turning for the better for this one? Should one really look at it? These were the small banks, where a lot of concerns about MFI was brought in the past. Do you think things are turning for the better again?
So again, Sakshi, again, just going back and looking at the historical data from 2021 so far. Look at the entire longer range chart. This counter has never fallen below 535 mark. Even there were spikes during the week, but the weekend closing was near to 535. Recently, we saw the counter going till 495, 475 also for a day or two, but the closing was again 535. That was the zone to reinitiate buy. Look at the present level 666. This counter is still within the consolidation. The higher end of consolidation is at 750. So if anyone could buy this counter near those 550 levels also, I think 745, 750 is a zone to watch out as a profit booking. If the counter manages to give a closing above 750, then it can be a positional trade. But otherwise, this 200 250 points range is something to play even for the long term investors, because this counter by now has offered 7 to 8 times such opportunities in last 3 years time.
Okay, fair point. Let's look at some of the other baskets as well. Let's look at the broadest index for a change to see any names that are flourishing here. What's moving here is Aptech at a 20% circuit. After a long haul, we are seeing this stock. Vari Energies, of course, post earnings 14-15% higher. You also have NIT Limited, that's up by 13% after a long haul again. You have SMS Pharmaceuticals, Jyoti Structures moving up, double-digit gains for these 11-12 odd percent higher. Anything specifically in the Nifty 500 basket that catches your attention, Kunal? What would that be?
So yes, we initiated a trade on Vari Energy. So let me just share this breakout, which
Sure.
was at around 2,500 levels, and then in just 2 days' time, this counter is near to 3,000. In fact, today is the highest volume recorded on the daily chart since IPO day. There was 28th of October. So today is the highest volume. Just have to keep watch on whether the closing is near the high. If so, I'll simply trail the stop loss to 2,750 and I'll hold the position. If someone wants to create a new position, I would say split or order in two parts. Buy at today's closing level itself. Second, if the counter manages to come near 2750, I think that can be a good level to initiate remaining 50% quantity. Good moves are expected in this counter looking at the volume activity.
Okay, got that. We'll definitely keep an eye out on that too. Let's also focus on some of the other pockets. Okay, real estate is another one that's been picking up pace. So let's see how are some of the stocks stacking up in trade today. Macro Tech is again up by 4%. 1367 is the level at which we are looking at this stock at. Godrej Properties 3% higher. Sobha, Prestige Estates, Brigade, TLF, Oberoi Realty up and about for all the spaces at this point. Rate cuts are definitely keeping real estate names back in focus. Housing finance names also are buzzing in trade today. What would you really do with the real estate names at this point, housing finance names at this point?
So yes, the stock which you mentioned, Macrotech, yes, we have been trading that because that's still in the range itself, but now it's nearing the higher end of the range. So let's focus on
Okay.
the counter, which is just showing the breakout. That's Shobha. After almost 2 months of sideways consolidation, this counter is showing the first breakout sign today. That breakout is placed at 1275. Right now, it's trading at 1297. If this counter now, obviously 15 minutes to go, so it's likely to give a closing about 1275. I think one can initiate a fresh entry onto this counter. Stop loss can be 1240, and the first conservative target can be 1400. If the counter manages to close above that, I think then this entire downtrend which we are witnessing since June 2024 might just come to an end, and we can expect a fresh rally on this counter. So yeah, this is the counter which one can take up the trade even on closing basis as of now.
Okay, fair point. So that's as far as the top three sectors that we've taken in today, viewers: IT, auto, real estate. These are the three top sectors today, and we've discussed all three of them and the top choices for Kunal on this space. Let's also now shift focus a little bit and talk about the PSU space at large. Several moving parts here. There is one sector which is the power space, one that is railways, the other that is defense. Oil and gas is also another one. 3 or 4 segments, and we are seeing some bounces on all of them across the board. So let's take them up one by one. First is defense and railways, the momentum that's coming back. Are you participating at all in this space? They have also recovered a tad bit from their all-time lows that they recently touched. And they have come back about 20 odd percent, 25 odd percent on some of them. Does it give you the confidence of going big on defense and railways yet again, or still do you think there's a far too long way to go before we can actually see those erstwhile highs?
So, Sakshi, if you can recall, we had a discussion about only one counter in the defense, which I discussed on our channel. That was HAL, when the counter made the extreme lows near 3100, and we had a
Yes.
discussion somewhere near to 3500, saying that the entire longer term trend is absolutely intact. So, I'm still very comfortable with HAL because it's still showing very good signs of strength on the daily chart. In fact, the entire downtrend which we witnessed from August 2024 so far is coming to an end. This counter has sustained above the breakout. So a fresh entry can be taken on HL at this level with the stop of 4,000. If someone is positionally long on this, trail the stop loss to 4,000, hold the position. I think 4,750 is the first target to watch out for. Again, I would say in these trending counters, rather than looking at targets, one should trail the stop loss and hold on. I think the previous highs are not far away on HAL. This is the first preferred counter for me. And the second is Mesgaon Dock. Again, that counter is in sideways consolidation nearing the previous highs of July 2024. If the counter manages to close about 2950, 3000 levels, then the targets of 3300 are also opening. So not a buying recommendation on Mesgaon Dock, but HAL is a certainly thumbs up.
Okay, we'll definitely keep that in focus as far as the defense names are concerned. How about railways? Any confidence here? IRCTC, IRFC, Container Corporation, all of these stocks are actually moving up.
They are showing good comeback, but at least the trend should reverse, which is still pending. On
Yeah.
IRCTC, what I can see is 800, 810 is the first level to watch out for. Probably after that, we'll keep an eye on it. And IRFC again, not really convincing move so far. It's still consolidating, so I'll avoid this space as of now. I think better opportunities are available in PSU, as you mentioned, and the second is defense space.
Okay, PSU in defense space, and we'll definitely look at that. Tell me what's happening with consumer durables. We were thinking that this is a space that should be in thick action because of the summer theme. About a month odd or so also we were discussing whether this space should be in focus. Today, all of them are actually giving up some of their gains. Voltas is down, Havells post earnings is down, Crompton Gives Consumer is down in trade. What's happening with the consumer durables?
See, again, I don't find any trend emerging even in the near future on these counters. Let's just talk
Okay.
about Voltas. The strong support is 1245, 1250, but this counter is not really showing any, the volume activity happening or say the trend reversing from the down to uptrend. So I will still avoid this entire space as of now, not any attractive bets available in the entire space.
Okay, we'll definitely keep that also in focus. Let's shift focus a bit to the broader markets, the mid and small caps as well. Kunal, you'd remember that we have been discussing whether large caps is going to be probably the space to be in this new year. We started off by talking about that in January, and that seemed to be the consensus. Mid caps and small caps did correct more than the large caps in the recent correction, but slowly some bounces returning onto this space as well. How would you approach the mid and small caps? Is it absolute stock specific, and what kind of names and sectors would you be really looking at here?
Extremely bottom up approach, absolutely. The only reason being we cannot segregate between these sectors as of now. Few counters which are showing good comeback, I think that's those are offering good risk reward ratio. Let's just take an example of Saman Capital. Now the counter which has come down from 200 levels to as low as 96 and now showing a comeback which is trading near 124. I think this is showing good reversal, good comeback. Even with SW Solar, for the sake of it, the counter which went down below this 300 mark is right now trading at 323, up by 3% even in today's trend. I think these are selected pockets where good opportunities are available rather than going for sectors. I think stock specific moves are likely to continue. And as you rightly mentioned, there are counters which have not corrected at all and they are still showing good strength, like Kaveri Seeds. The counter is just making new highs. So yeah, these are the pockets where we can focus upon, but very stock specific. No sectors in the mid and the small cap as of.
Very, very stock specific has to be the case at this point. Let's also focus on the commodity basket. You did talk about oil and gas. Metals is something that I wanted to discuss. 0.7% higher. There've been some triggers of late. Safeguard duty in place as well. Things getting better between US and China. What exactly would you do with metal story in India? Does it give you any convincing move, to participate, or still a very, very volatile space to be in?
No, certainly the space is looking very attractive to me. But again, I will not go on the entire space as such.
Okay.
Stock specific moves are likely to continue. I think JSW Steel, which is trading near the all time high, we saw the same high somewhere in the month of October also. The same high was seen in March, and we are back to the same level of 1050. So JSW Steel is a clear avoid. But at the same time, if you look at Tata Steel, it is just starting from the low levels, and the bottom was 127. It's trading at 140, which is offering me good, comfort zone on the risk reward front. So considering these counters which are nearing the low and showing reversal, I think that's the place where I'll place the bet. The only pick which I have right now in mind is Tata Steel. We have initiated a buy. The stop is 125, and the first positional target is 160, and above that targets can be 175. So these are the levels to watch out on Tata Steel.
Okay, so we'll definitely look at some of these steel counters that Kunal is keeping a keen eye out on as well. Also apart from this, I wanted to ask you on the BTST, STBT trades. We are about 11 minutes to go from the trade point. Any BTST or STBT trades that you'd like to point out?
So, Sakshi, the first one is again Adani Green. This counter
Okay.
is still not showing the breakout, but it has
Hmm.
shown a good comeback in today's trading session. It's trading near the high. The breakout is placed at around 965. This counter might not give breakout today, but in tomorrow's session, if at all it continues and breaks about 965, I think that can be a good trade to be taken up with the stop of 950. The targets can be 1050 and 1100. So it's a positional target, not just BTST. The second is Gala Precision Engineering. Now, this counter has shown a massive volume activity on 16th April. This counter came back from 735, 740 levels to 920, showing breakout signs today. So, with the stop of around 850, one can go long on this also. Targets can be 1050 again. And the third is DAM Capital, showing very good comeback. It's up by around 1%. Consolidation breakout is placed at around 230. So let's not buy today. Wait for 230 as a breakout with the stop of around 220. One can go long and the targets can be 250 to 255. So these are the three stocks to watch out for next at least a week, not just BTSD.
Okay, got that. We'll keep an eye out on all these three stocks. Since, capital markets is what we are discussing, let me also discuss this entire broking space, wealth management space. That's also looking very interesting. A lot of news flow, mergers, acquisitions also taking place. K Fintech, CDSL have come back into flavor again. Last few days, they've been on the buzz. BSE is on the buzz. Motilal Oswal, Financial Services, Angel One. These are all the stocks that are actually of late showing us some ticks on the higher side. These spaces have all seen, record high moves, stunning rallies, and then a consolidation that spanned about 2, 3, 4 months odd or so. And they're now slowly and gradually recovering from those lows as well. Your top favorite stocks, where would you still pencil in for a smart recovery, even from the current levels?
So again, we were lucky enough in capturing the BSA recovery. We bought near 5,000 and now trading the stop loss, but now it's at the very elevated level. So
Okay.
the alternative for us, though it's not a perfect alternative, but in the same space is CDSL, which we initiated a buy today itself. The
Okay.
breakout was 1350. Right
Huh.
now it's trading at 1365. So with the stop of around 1275, one can certainly initiate a buy even at this level. The first conservative target is 1500. And again, just like what we saw in BSE, let's not book the profit, hold the position, trail the stop loss. Can be a good approach on this. So I think CDSL is the first preferred pick. Angel is showing recovery signs, but the breakout is pending. So I'm just sharing the breakout level, and that's around 2600. If the counter manages to go about 2600, I think you can confirm at that point in time with someone who is available. I think the targets can be 3200 to 3300 also.
Okay, we'll definitely keep an eye out on these capital market related stocks, CDSL, Angel One at this point as well. Those are the spaces to be watched carefully going forward from here. Let's again pencil out some of the names within the Nifty Next 50. You have IT names like LTI Mindtree up at 5% up move. Macrotech is 4% higher. Godrej Consumer Products is doing well. You have TVS Motors, you have Torrent Pharma, CG Power, Britannia, Info Edge is moving up. Samvardhana Motherson. You also have Zydus Life Sciences, Avenue Supermarts, United Spirits, Swiggy. All of these stocks actually buzzing in the Nifty Next 15 names. Let's also look at the NBFCs and the banks, for instance. Today, of course, the wealth management space, we've discussed Motilal Oswal, 7% higher. Very, very strong move. Home First Finance, 361 RAM, Geojit, IFL Finance, even Geo Finance for that matter. All of these stocks are actually doing very well in trade today. Geo has been on the move and again continues with a 3% surge today as well. Apart from this, let's also look at some of the other pockets that are buzzing in trade. We will pull up the auto ancillaries particularly. Remember, autos is what we've discussed, Tata Motors, M&M, but what's also moving is Sona BLW, for instance, 6% higher, Tirupati Forging, Steel Strip Wheels, Shivam Auto Tech, Kalyani Forge. These are all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. Anything in the auto ancillary pack that you like, Kunal, particularly?
So I have not been tracking this sector very closely, but yeah, just when you're naming few, so I could scroll and I found a Sona BLW showing good volume
Yeah.
activity also, and it's showing a good comeback. So I think the breakout is still pending. We can keep the breakout level in our mind, which is 490 if the counter manages to go about that, because there is a gap area on that. So considering that as a resistance, we will wait, I think, for 492 breakout. After that, we can initiate a trade. The targets can be 545 to 550 with the stop of 440.
Okay, auto ancillary names also in focus. Sona BLW is something that Kunal is also looking at. Defense names we discussed. DCX system has rallied again today, 8% higher. Scient DLM 2.5% higher. Data patterns, Solar Industries, Bharat Dynamics, Paras Defense. These are all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. Even tourism and hospitality, Sapphire Foods, EIH, Coffee Day Enterprises, Jubilant Foodworks. Those are the pockets that are actually doing well in the tourism and the hospitality space as well. Real estate, we have discussed, a lot of them are moving today. Even FMCG names, some of them are recovering from yesterday's sharp losses. We have discussed IT, pharma as well. Some of those cable names are also in focus today. KEI Industries is up 2%, although Havells after earnings has slipped in trade. A lot of spirit names are up. Yesterday also there was a lot of move in, even today, on Tilak Nagar Industries, United Spirits. All of these stocks are actually buzzing in trade. 326, we are just 4 minutes away from the day's close. Kunal, let's discuss forward-looking strategies now for the markets. 24/3/23. We are bang in the middle of the entire week, and two more sessions to go. What's the outlook that you have, and what was the strategy that you will advise on the markets now?
So Sakshi, on the coming month, that's for the month of May, the approach is very simple, and that's keep buying on Nifty on decline. The first target, in-house target, which we have kept is 24,800 and followed by 25,500. So until these two levels are achieved, I think buy on dip can be a good strategy. The entire view will get nullified or say negated if the Nifty falls below 23,500. So that's the support which we are monitoring. Also, we discussed about IT stocks. I think that's where the good opportunities available. Autopack, which we have shortlisted again, and I shared the stocks. I think these are the counters where we'll keep focusing upon, because volatility is very high and the uncertainties are also still not completely out from the picture. I think hedged position will make a lot of sense. Someone who is a trader should keep the string stop loss, and for the investors, I think focusing more on the risk reward ratio is something which is very important. And IT stocks are those which are offering the same as of now. So for the next entire month, these are the sectors, and this index, which Nifty index, which we discussed, we will be focusing on that itself.
Okay, Kunal, we will thank you on that note for being with us on the show, helping us through all those sectors and the view on the markets as well going forward, the strategy that investors should have. 3 minutes to go for the markets to shut shop. We are comfortably above 24,320 right now, 154 points higher, which means that we will log in the 7th straight day of a gain coming in on the Nifty again. So that's another positive, of course, for the Nifty coming in. 7 days of a straight move. Let me just pull up the historical data for all of you to see how long after have you seen actually the Nifty move on the positive side for 7 straight days. Should be in a fairly long time, because remember, last 4-5 months we have only been seeing a lot of decline in the markets. Let's look at a stretched chart for the. Okay, let me just pull this. Let me pull up a weekly and a daily chart of the Nifty. In the meanwhile, we'll start wrapping up the trade as well to see how the markets are shutting shop. IT names for sure, leader of the pack today, 4.4% higher for the index at large. When we look at the kind of move that we have seen for the markets today, Nifty is up by 0.6%. That's the one that's really led the show today between the frontline indices, better than the Nifty Bank for sure. IT index has pulled up the Nifty sharply higher in trade. HCL Tech ends nearly 7.8% higher. So that's something that we are looking at. And let's also pull up Tech Mahindra for that matter, nearly 5% of a move. It's the second gainer on the Nifty today. Tata Motors is pulled up smartly, 660 odd levels. This will surely give a lot of relief to all those investors who've been watching very, very closely how Tata Motors has been declining in trade. Let's actually look at Wipro and Infosys. These are the other top movers on the Nifty. On the declining end, you have Grasim, HDFC Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, SBI, Axis Bank. At least 4 of the top laggards are from the banking space, both PSU and public sector, private sector banks that are declining. JSW Steel, however, is on a declining trend as well, about 1% lower. IT, Auto, Pharma, Realty. That's the order in which the top movers are placed in. But India VIX has actually pulled up 5.5% higher now, 16.04 level. So keep an eye out on that, because India VIX was fairly lower in trade, but it's pulled up towards the latter half of the trade. Mid and small caps end the day in the green. Mid caps outperforming the small caps, over 1% gains for the mid caps today. Infra, metals, oil and gas, FMCG, some of the other pockets that gained. But what declined? Consumer durables, banks completely. Those were the pockets that were declining. In the F&O space, you had AU Small Finance Bank, HCL Tech again, Coforge, the top movers on the Nifty, while on the declining side, Voltas, Muthoot Finance, Havells, Mahindra and Mahindra Financial Services, and Crompton Greaves Consumer as the stocks that were seen declining in trade. Okay, so let me just pull up that data. I have that with me. Okay, the last time that you actually saw the Nifty up for 7 days in a row was on March 25, 2025. So after a month nearly, we are seeing that 7 days of a consecutive move on the Nifty on the higher end as well. So after nearly a month that we have seen this strong move continue, but we end the day above 24,328 odd levels, 161 points higher in trade. So we are near that 1 month's high. You can clearly see that chart also reflecting the same for all of you. We'll end at that, viewers, but do stay tuned on to Business Today Television. Coverage on the markets and even beyond the stock markets from the world of business and economics continues on the other side for you. We'll be back with the market coverage tomorrow at 8:45 a.m. Where we will be talking to you about the trade setup. So stay tuned with us. A lot more for you to catch in on the Business Today website as well as on Business Today TV channel. Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is the earnings special conversation where our focus is on Tata Communications Q4 earnings.